Yes, we're here again. That Argentine peso is plunging. It is absolutely eye-watering. The dollar's 20% one-day climb against the currency has been absolutely breathtaking. The collapse in the currency was driven by President Macri's disappointing performance in Sunday's primary elections. They were expecting it to be disappointing, but not quite that bad. And it suggests the market-friendly president, to be frank, who hasn't even gotten that far, really, with those market reforms, will not be re-elected in October's general election. Joining me is Benjamin Gedan. He is director of the Argentina Project at the Wilson Center. And Ben, you argue that the president's loss has been simply stunning. You're talking about only two districts of 24. He only got 13% of the vote. What now for Argentina as a whole? And I want to speak first about the economy, because while Argentine politics are legend in terms of the treachery, the economy is what many people are worried about.
Yeah, I mean, I think you can think about the economic troubles ahead in terms of the short-term reaction from the markets, which has been absolutely brutal in terms of the reaction in bond markets and the currency market, which you referenced, and then the long-term prospects for Argentina, if indeed we see a complete turnaround from the pro-market reforms over the last few years. Now, I have to ask you, Ben, do you believe that the opposition leader there, Alberto Fernandez, do you believe he will step in here and be a good cop? Of course, the impression is that he will do markets and the economy no favors. Do you think he will step in and moderate and at least give an indication of what his government might look like if he wins that election in the fall? He certainly hasn't done so far. I mean, the times he's spoken about the economy have spooked markets throughout the campaign. And in fact, he's been accused multiple times of stoking economic anxiety in order to improve his chances of winning. Now that it seems almost guaranteed he'll be the next president, one hopes he'll take a more pragmatic approach and even coordinate some economic messaging with the incumbent. Yeah, Ben, I have no skin in the game. I'm just an onlooker in the last 25 years in Argentina, and it is like a very damaging telenovela at this time. I wouldn't even say it's all that entertaining. It's just more misery upon more misery. Does it make the country look ungovernable in the first instance, but also to investors not a safe bet ever, no matter what any politician says to you? Yeah, I mean, so we'll see the governability challenges in the days, weeks, and months ahead. There's questions even being raised as Buenos Aires panics as to whether this president can even stay in office and complete his term through December. And then the long-term question of why would you invest in a country with a total lack of continuity in economic policy? I mean, this has been the Achilles heel for Argentina. It's got great natural resources, great human capital, but it seesaws dramatically election to election in terms of its approach to trade and economic management. And that's really what spooks investors. It doesn't have a great established rule of law as well. And so levels of corruption and lack of judicial accountability and transparency and efficiency are also chronic issues for Argentina. But I think what you point out to is probably its biggest weakness. It isn't just that it's crisis prone, it's that there's absolutely no consistency in its approach to the private sector and to private investment. And, tell me in terms of history, has this happened before? I know it's hard to get into the head of a voter in Argentina, but do they tend to pull away from the brink when they see the market reaction, or they just say, no, this is about internal politics in Argentina and global investors be damned? Look, in 2015, the Argentines took a risk on a relative newcomer. He'd been the mayor of Buenos Aires. He'd been the president of a major soccer organization in Argentina. But he was from a new political party, and he proposed pro-market reforms, pro-trade reforms, and a real break from the leftist version of this dominant Peronist movement that Argentina typically chooses for its national and provincial governments. And it didn't work out. I mean, I think one could assign blame in lots of directions, including his inheritance from the very political movement that Argentina now seems poised to re-elect. But the reality is there's been a recession of 3 of the last 4 years that this pro-market official has governed, and Argentines have seen poverty increase over 32%, unemployment is over 10%, inflation will be over 40% this year. And I think Argentine voters can be forgiven for saying, okay, this model has not worked. What's unfortunate is that the alternative are the very people who brought Argentina to the brink over the last few years. Yeah, these are two choices that don't seem very good. As you said, though, you can forgive people in Argentina for saying, look, you told us it would be short-term pain, long-term gain. We have yet to see that long-term gain. Ben, thanks so much. Really important perspective there. Appreciate it.